before any strike is taken, there must be near certainty that no civilians will be killed or injured, the highest standard we can set.
We begin today with the news that another innocent civilian has become the victim of a U.S. drone strike in Yemen. This attack comes just a month after a massive drone strike killed at least 15 people traveling in a wedding convoy. Human rights organizations argue that there were no Islamic militants in that convoy and that only innocent civilians were targeted.
Brendan Bryan served for 5 years as a drone operator in the U.S. Air Force. With his joystick, he engaged in 1,626 killings. In the end, Bryan almost perished himself.
I felt like it destroyed my soul for the longest time. If I say that I have a mental issue, if I have a mental problem with killing people, it's looked down upon. Like, if you can't do violence while you're in the military, you're a weakling.
I spoke with one of the tribal leaders present in 2009 at the place where the U.S. cruise missiles targeted the village of Al-Ma'jala in Lawdar, Abyan. More than 40 civilians were killed, including 4 pregnant women. The tribal leader and others tried to rescue the victims, but the bodies were so decimated that it was impossible to differentiate between those of children, women, and their animals.
Against the United States drone attacks in Pakistan.
जो drones हैं, ये पाकिस्तान के अवाम की human rights की खिलाफत है.
People from all over the country, irrespective of their ages and backgrounds, came together to the rally.
The Bureau for Investigative Journalism estimates that since 2004, the CIA drone war in Pakistan has killed somewhere between 2,500 and 3,600 people.
We're going to learn 2 terms, the Overton window and the manufacturing of consent. We're going to use the popularity of drones to explain it. The Overton window is basically the frame of what Americans think is acceptable behavior. If the wealthy, government, or policymakers want to make you and me accept a behavior Americans don't think is right, what they do is present an extreme version of what they want, so everything up until that point doesn't sound as crazy. The moving of that frame is called the manufacturing of consent. This is after 9/11 we began doing the first drone strikes, killing people in the Middle East. But Americans didn't feel comfortable with killing people with flying murder robots. So they needed to change the idea of what a drone was to the American people. They began the manufacturing of consent with introducing toy RC helicopters, available to the mass market in the early parts of the millennium. After everyone became accustomed to remote control flying toys, they moved on to camera drones that anyone could operate with their cell phone in 2007. This then moved on to semi-professional camera drones, and finally drone racing began, making it a sport. The final product of this process is when you hear the word drone, you don't think of death from the sky, but something a filmmaker, pro vlogger, or an alternative athlete uses.